when we went down this journey of building a halo car, what does a halo car mean? When you put all the technology, when you stick true to the design vision, when you make all these special parts, it's this dance of how many do you want to build, how can you amortize your investment and work over how many units, and the math just works out. You either go really special, which means expensive, which means low volume, and you either take advantage of that or you end up in there's this middle ground where you kind of don't want to land. Either you build enough of them to really industrialize it and go, or you just say, hey, we're going to be a special low volume. And so we steered out of that middle no man's land and landed on, hey, yeah, we're going to build these really slow. Cadillac's been trying to do a halo car like this. We've done a long series of show cars over the years that we've teased out. We've tried many times, depending on how you count, somewhere between.
Many folks have tried to build halo cars, like Bob
Yeah.
Lutz with a 16.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The El Mirage.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that car was achingly beautiful.
Yep.
Why did this one come about and the other
Yeah.
ones didn't?
No, that's a great question, and really it's a matter of timing, right? With Cadillac making this, monumental shift to electric with everything that's going on in the world and in the industry right now, it's the perfect timing. And the CELESTIQ design was the inspiration for the new Cadillac design language. I'm sure we'll talk more about that as the reveal goes on, but really this car came first. So even though LYRIQ is going to be first into production, the CELESTIQ design was the inspiration.
So the car we're looking at, just so for the avoidance of doubt, is a concept car, the one we're seeing today.
Yeah, the one we've released first, this is a roadmap we're on. We're releasing the car we used as the inspiration car, the show car. And then very soon we will show you, we are building prototypes now. So we're well on our way to going into production. We haven't said when exactly, but we're on our way. And you'll see that the exterior especially of the show car and the production car are shockingly similar. I mean, we literally...
How similar? Like, is it the kind of thing where there's two directions? There's the American direction where they come up with these concept cars that are wild, and the real production car looks nothing like it, or it's like a distant relative. Then you look at like Honda and Acura. When they do a concept car, it's the real car. All they're doing is changing the wheels.
Somewhere in between, closer to the only changing the wheels part. We literally parked this show car nose to nose with the clay we were developing the production surface. They sat in the studio just down the hall here for the better part of a year, literally nose to nose. And so when we would have reviews, we'd walk over and look at what we were executing, whether we were arguing about a bumper reg or whatever, and we'd walk over and look at the intent, and we'll walk back, and it sparked many passionate discussions. But we really tried to stay true to the vision. And I tell you, at a quick glance especially, you won't know which one you're looking at. The mirrors are the biggest difference.
Like, when I think of like a wheelbase, let's say an S-Class. Wheelbase on that is, what is it? The length on that is 208.
Yeah, I don't think in those old units anymore, but
You're a metric man.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes.
When I think of an S-Class, or I think of a car of this proportion, I'm thinking that size. Are we talking bigger or shorter?
This car is big. We haven't announced all of the specs yet, but you get an idea from the show car, and really, it's one of the sad things about releasing just pictures of the show car by itself, and there's a person standing next to it, so you do get some idea. The first time we parked our first development car next to a CT5 Blackwing, and you just see the two of them sitting next to each other, that's when it really hits you. This car is striking.
Is it significantly longer than a Blackwing?
Oh yeah, it's long.
Because
it's
a
big.
Blackwing is a 118-inch wheelbase, 116. But think about a 5 Series type car.
Yeah, this is way bigger than that. This is big. This is truly big. I mean, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at when you look at the pictures, and you can just look at the markings on the side of the tire. They're 23-inch wheels, so they're essentially Escalade wheels and tires, but the roof is shorter than a CT6.
Would that come to production, the 23-inch wheels?
We'll see. Talk to me later on this year.
I'm seeing a yes in that face of yours. The thing about this guy, he can't really hide his face.
Well,
we were at Bob Boniface's party this weekend, and sadly, his wife told me all the secrets.
Yeah, I forgot to tell her not to talk to you. So, I won't make that mistake again.
She's wonderful. She's a racer, too.
She is. We went to driver school 1 week apart, long time ago. But yeah,
Amazing.
she raced until we had our third kid, and then it was too much to juggle the kids in the paddock, and so I kept going. And she's crew chief now.
Literally the crew chief.
Hmm.
So the design of this car, I'm looking at it, and to me it says 5-door. Is it a 5-door?
Hmm.
Was that a difficult decision to make a Halo car 5-door?
I wouldn't say difficult. We definitely had the discussion. Like I said, it was really, and eventually we'll release all this, but I mean, the inspiration for the design was this shape. So this shape was part of it, and we've been sticking true to the form. So the shape lends itself to a large, dramatic,
Oh,
five
so it
door.
wasn't a
So
mandate we want a 5-door. It
no,
was this is the sketch you picked that
yeah.
Mike picked.
Well, the sketch that became a physical model, and the model sat in the corner of the studio and inspired the rest of the design. And really, I think when you look at all the things the designers are trying to portray, that big open interior, the four individual seats, the way we're treating each occupant like they're the most important person in the
Mm.
car. So the comfort in the seats in each position is going to be, exactly the same. So all the features that are in a front seat, you don't normally get those in a rear seat. The same level of massage, the same, features for
Now
heating
we've
and
seen that in
everything.
concept cars before, but is that actually going to make it to production where it's the full
You're,
length
you're gonna
console?
you're gonna keep poking
I
at
got to
all
get
that
into
stuff.
this
Yeah.
because the last time you did a car with a full length console was a 1989 Pontiac Grand Prix,
Nice.
which was super cool looking.
Yeah.
I still want one today, but the reason why they don't make them is because people want the three seats in the back.
Yeah. Well, right now I can talk about the show car,
Yeah,
and I can hint at what we're gonna do in production.
yeah.
And I can tell you, look at the show car, and that was our vision. And so you'll see how we executed the vision, and there are differences. The and I know people in the industry especially are going to be shocked by this. The studio will take some liberties sometimes with things that
I
we
know that
just,
never
yeah,
happens.
right, just can't do for lots of reasons, and that's okay because they're showing what the vision is, and that's
Mm.
that's their job. They're pushing the boundaries, and then it's my team's job to execute on that. And I'm hoping at the end of this, the studio will say we did a good job. I think we've done a fantastic job. They're pretty demanding customers. They're our first customer from an engineering perspective, and
The studio did a neat trick with the shift knob, where they put the old Cadillac, was it the LaSalle low?
the goddess in it.
Yeah,
Hmm.
neat
Yeah,
touch.
you see that touch in a couple spots on the show car, and so yeah, we'll talk more about kind of the return of the goddess, and we're using that as it's been our symbol. We've got a big sculpture of it in the studio.
Is the goddess going to stay just for this fancy Celestic, or is it going to go to other cars?
I'd say stay tuned, right? But I mean, right now it's part of CELESTIQ, and we'll explain more why and what it means and why we're bringing it
Mm.
back later.
Okay, so let's look underneath the car. What you have shared, built on the whole Ultium, is going to be an EV kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, the rest of it, are these pieces going to be bespoke to this bespoke car, or is it going to take some of the engineering that Jamie showed us in the Lyric?
Um, what I'll say is we chose the best engineering solution for whatever problem we were given. So some of it is
That is, wow, that's a PR trained answer.
yeah. Well, what I mean by that is we really honestly looked at if, you know, reusing an element of a drive unit gives us the NNV and everything that we need in packages and works, then we're not going to spend money on that. We spend money in places that are going to matter. And I really mean that. I mean, we say that in a lot of,
Like, give me
press
three
events.
examples
So,
of where it matters.
um, boy, the first couple that come to mind are things we haven't talked about yet. But I'd say the rear suspension. We redid some elements of the rear suspension. One of them that won't be giving anything away is we changed the motion ratio on the rear control arm to the spring shock assembly because of the way it preloads the bushings.
Hmm.
And it's a compromise that was made for an SUV in the Lyriq that we wanted to make a different choice. So in that case, we redid those components because reusing them wouldn't have helped us get to our goal. They were choosing a different priority. So that's one example of, in that case, we looked at that. We said, no, we want to do something different.
Hmm.
So we spent money. Plenty of other cases where we did not, right? The upper and lower control arms in the front are pretty much, other than the bushing material and durometer, pretty much exactly the same as other vehicles because it accomplished our goals, let us get the kinematics we needed, and
Hmm.
no reason to spend money on that if we don't need to.
You've been very clear that this is coming into production.
Mhm.
What's the timing of when this comes into production?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been clear on that. All I can say is we are building prototypes, and so anybody that knows the industry knows we're closer, we're more than halfway on our way, right? When we're building the first prototypes, so we've got a long way to go. We got a lot of testing to do. We got a lot of certification to do. It's a global product, so we've got to meet all the regs from all over the world, but it's well on its way.
Mm.
That's all I can say.
Another fascinating aspect about this, and I know this is kind of inside baseball, we are sitting in the tech center
Hmm.
in General Motors in Warren, Michigan.
Hmm.
Specifically, we're sitting in design, the design library.
Hmm.
But the tech center is not just design. This is a huge campus.
Hmm.
You guys have never built a car here.
We're basically carving out a portion of the facility that we build our other prototypes. We've upgraded it in certain ways to build serial production that you wouldn't normally do for a prototype. We're building the bodies at the facility where we build the prototype, first run bodies for a vehicle, and we're assembling the vehicle on the south side of our campus here. It's pretty neat.
Why did you come to that decision to build it literally in an R&D facility?
Yeah. We looked at a lot of different options. We needed a spot where we could really have a small dedicated private area where we could have, craftsmen and women come and really slowly assemble these vehicles with a lot of care and attention to detail that we don't normally take when you build something on a line. So we never considered building it, on a line in a regular production facility. Um, this answer just made the most sense, right? It's close to our engineering team, it's close to design. So as we continue to go and we talk about the customization that we're going to offer, having it in close proximity just made a lot of sense at the end of the day. And the workforce that we have in our prototype facility already, we're going to have a dedicated workforce to assemble these, but these are special hand-picked craftsmen that are going to do this.
From the get-go, this project was always going to be a hand-built car?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the volume just lends itself to that, really. When we went down this journey of building a halo car, what does a halo car mean? Um, when you put all the technology, when you stick true to the design vision, when you make all these special parts, it's this dance of how many do you want to build? How can you amortize your investment and work over how many units? And the math just works out. You either go really special, which means expensive, which means low volume, and you either take advantage of that or you end up in there's this middle ground where you kind of don't want to land. Either you build enough of them to really industrialize it and go, or you just say, hey, we're going to be a special low volume. And so we steered out of that middle no man's land and landed on, hey, yeah, we're going to build these really slow, take advantage of that, which it offers a ton of advantages for things that we would never dream of doing. You just can't do on a
Give me
line.
some examples of the advantages.
Um, Holding tolerances on things where we're going to give the operator time to assemble a door pad and literally measure the gaps and adjust it and fit it and then put the trim back on. You can't do that when you're trying to give an operator X number of seconds and he's got 5 other things to do, and the car's moving. It's got to be you give a team of people time to put something on, measure, maybe even take it off, put it back on, and do it the way you would want to do it if you were building a show car, and that's what we've done.
I mean, a fair question here, but GM is not known for this type of quality or hand-building cars. Is there the goal of taking some learning from this and maybe filter it down to other production lines?
So that's what I was going to say. Not known currently for doing this, right? And there was a time, and this is really what we've been talking about since day one here. The idea here is back to when Cadillac truly earned and was known as the standard of the world. And this is us doing a car worthy of that again, worthy of the V16s, worthy of the Eldorado Brougham. And that means you do things differently. And back to what you said, which I'm excited about, is a lot of this is trickling down to processes, parts, capability, looking at things differently. Look, we're not going to hand build every CT4, but the mentality of us exercising these muscles and doing this is going to make our engineering and everything about the way we do things stronger, and show us what's possible firsthand instead of having to watch other folks do it. So it's super exciting to be part of this from the
What
inside.
kind of volumes are we talking about here?
Low. I mean, yeah,
Like under
you're talking a
500?
couple a day kind of a thing here. Not whereas normally you're building 40 to 60 an hour. We're talking a couple of cars a day, handful a day.
And have we discussed what the price points are going to be for this?
So we haven't. There's been a lot of rumor and innuendo, and I can
Yeah.
tell you, expensive is the answer. It's not cheap. Quality isn't cheap, and
No, it
really,
isn't.
I think, but really, I'm okay with I'm okay with the way the discussion's going, and I think it's obvious that we're trying to build a no excuses car. We're trying to build the standard of the world. We're trying to build something really, really special, and I think the people that are going to buy this car understand and won't be bothered by that. When you look at the level of customization we're going to offer, when you look at the materials we're
You
using.
brought that up a couple of times.
Mm.
Customization, like what kind of customization are we talking about here?
So right from day one, we've kind of had this mantra from we went out and talked to people that don't normally buy Cadillacs. I'll just put it that way, and we literally went around the country. A group of us traveled around, and the message you get loud and clear from these folks that buy, whether it's a Bugatti or even a Bentley or a Rolls Royce or whatever, they don't ever want to hear no. They just want to hear how much.
Mm.
And it's a different mentality from when we're putting together a normal car and we say, here's what we offer, and if you want something different, we're sorry, go somewhere else. So really from day one, we've had this mantra of we don't ever want to tell anybody no, we're just going to want to explain to them how long and how much. And that's we're sticking true to that. So when I say level of customization, like if you want to do a
How long
man
was a piece
array
of
on
string?
your center console trim, we're not going to tell you no. We're just going to tell you how much it costs to go source some man array. And I mean, I'm not kidding. Like that level. If you want us to take a tree from your, grandfather's orchard and make our deco out of it, we're going to go tell you how long and how much it costs to do that.
So if you're talking to, I'm assuming Rolls Royce customers, Bentley customers, Bugatti customers, AMG One customers,
Hmm.
Porsche exclusive manufacturer type people,
Hmm.
was there pushback that it's a Cadillac?
Surprisingly, no. Everyone I've talked to, and we haven't done it. We've done it covertly and overtly. We've talked to them wherever they knew who we were and not. Um, Really, no. That's been super encouraging, and we've been doing this for years now. Everybody we talk to, it's like they're rooting for the home team, and they want to see us succeed. They're very demanding customers, and they say, look, if you guys deliver, I will buy it, but you have to deliver. And look, I'm up for that challenge. We can deliver. We can engineer and build the best car in the world. It takes a lot of confidence to go out and do this, and that's one thing as a team we've been talking about for years now is this is no joke. I mean, there's a lot of pressure we're going to deliver. When people see the car and look at the show car that we're
Yeah.
talking about now, not all of it is going to look exactly the same, but a whole lot more than I think people expect are going to be very much the same, and it's going to blow people away.
Okay, so
So
this is the point of the episode. You haven't been on the show in a very long time. We turned the episode around, and we asked for feedback from the audience. What feedback do you want from the audience? And I'm going to forewarn you, they're very honest. What feedback do you want to hear from them?
Yeah, I mean, you asked the right question that I'm really curious to hear from the broader community of what do people think about Cadillac taking a leap like this? I mean, from our perspective, I think it's required to be a relevant, true luxury manufacturer. You gotta be willing to put yourself out there and say what you stand for, and that's what this is all about. For us, is the ultimate expression of Cadillac.
I
Um,
think that
is
the
is
right
that
question.
is that the right thing for Cadillac to be doing? What does the audience think about that? That would
Okay,
be
so
my
you
question.
heard the man. Let us know in the comments below or via our social media, MotoManTV, all one word, MotoManTV, all one word, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And with that, I want to prove that this is the right man for the job. And think about it. If you run General Motors and you're going to make a $300,000 car, that's what I think it's going to cost. $300,000 car, you're not going to give it to just anybody. You need a guy that knows cars. Tony here, he's been racing since he was in diapers. His wife races cars.
Mhm.
His son races cars. And what race are you preparing for at this point?
I'm on the journey to qualify and run the 24 hours of the Nürburgring next year. So I'm going to go run the 12-hour race in September here, and that all goes well, I'll get my A certification and head back for the 24 next year. And that's a bucket list thing for me. Anybody that's ever been to that event, it is truly one of a kind. And to be a part of it, you know, to wear my Nomex and stand there at the beginning of the race and be part of a team, yeah, it's like
now you see why A, I love Tony, and B, why he was given the job of the most expensive Cadillac ever. Until I see you in the next episode, be später.